Let's go. We're gonna fight the most notorious enemy in all of Kirby history. Fuck off with your motorcycle. 9 seconds into this fucking thing, and so, oh, look at me, I own a loud vehicle. So anywho, there's a trick to this one, I suppose you could call it. Regular copy abilities don't work. You can only suck on things. Unfortunately, what an awful life to live. What was Mashed Potato Samurai, or Masahiro Sakurai, I mean? What kind of message was he trying to send to the youth of America? That there's a section where only sucking is allowed. Poor old Sakurai. He works so hard to appease just these ravenous, just foaming at the mouth Smash Bros fans. The demands never end. You see him come out every 6 months for the Smash Bros presentations, and he always looks very thin and sickly and weak, and what's gonna happen to the poor bastard? I've got a theory about that, actually. A game theory. No, but for real though. My prediction is that Masahiro Sakurai will work himself to death in order to appease the ravenous Smash Bros people. And then, even then, they won't be satisfied. There's at his funeral, the headstone's gonna get vandalized with a Geno for Smash Bros, and the asshole who does it won't even feel remorseful about it. He'll just say, "What? I'm just trying to defend my favorite character." The Smash Bros people know no boundaries. Oh, it's just awful. Sakurai probably wishes he had never done Smash Bros and had just stuck to Kirby full time. I mean, imagine being in his position. You just want to make a fun, simplistic fighting game for casual audiences, and now you're still working on it 20 years later, and there's just these sweaty, pimply, just hairy neckbeards just screaming at you. Just put this character in, and put this other character in, and where does it end? Anyway, and once he does work himself to death, there's gonna be like a fracturing of the Smash Bros fans. It's gonna become like a religion of sorts. There's gonna be a sub-faction of Smash Bros people who say, he died for our Smash Bros, and they're gonna start a Hell Labs themed religion in his honor. They're gonna call themselves the Kirby Congregationalists, and at some point they'll probably do some sort of act of extremism that's gonna hurt somebody in real life, and then the government's gonna have to step in and break them up. So that's my prediction of the culmination of Sakurai's career as a game developer. An armed standoff between US Marshals and a religious cult based on a video game. What a world. Gosh, imagine if all that shit happened. People would revisit this video years later and say, "Wow, this guy predicted it. That's amazing. Was he from the future?" "Was he from the future? Marty, we gotta go back to the future." I'm just making noises at this point. But yeah, wrapping up this idea on a slightly more serious note, there seems to be this widespread misconception among the more mentally ill wings of the Nintendo fandom that Sakurai is some kind of benevolent god who's giving us these wonderful gifts by putting new characters in the game, and they feel that if their character doesn't get in, that means that somehow they did something wrong, and that they've angered their god somehow, and the Nintendo just brings out the worst in some people. All the crazies come out of the woodwork and just share these just terrible, ridiculous, impossible ideas. How did the internet get the way that it is? I miss when it was harder to actually set up an internet connection, and you wouldn't have all the crazies. You just have tech nerds having fun. All kinds of shenanigans were had. The good old days of you could prank your friends with the "you are an idiot" virus, and "you are an idiot." Ha 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 ha. I bet you're surprised I remember that. Probably thinking, didn't the guy say he was like 26 years old? Wouldn't he have been like a toddler during that era of Windows? You don't know me. You don't know what I've experienced. Speaking of Windows, so I read that they're making Windows 11, and they were saying a couple of years ago that Windows 10 was so upgradable that there would never need to be a new operating system ever again, and I guess that was a fucking lie, wasn't it? Why, Microsoft? Well, I just heard it from the internet, not from Microsoft directly, so I guess that's not as shocking. We all know that the internet is full of liars. I mean, hell, even the internet's got Peter Molyneux. That should tell you enough. Peter Molyneux was the biggest liar in all of internet land. Just ask Guru Larry. Oh, cutscene. And then Kirby and his followers wandered through the desert for 40 days and 40 nights in search of salvation. Kirby's buddies better watch the fuck out. He's about to go on a cannibalistic rampage. Well, thank goodness they found actual food and he didn't have to do that. As they said in that episode of Billy and Mandy that one time, it's a miracle. We don't have to eat each other to survive. And then there was a different kid who was already in the middle of eating somebody, and tough luck for you, kid. And gosh, Billy and Mandy sure was fucked up, wasn't it? That was the only show where they could do such a horrible concept. Okay, on to the planet of water. Now that those geometric cubes are out of the way, it's time for Kirby to continue his rampage. He will bring about hellfire upon the people of this land. Kirby moves forward without restraint, and all those that stand in his path will soon learn a hard lesson about what happens to those who stand in between a man and his destiny, or a Kirby and his destiny, rather. That's something the internet always likes to mention, is Kirby's so violent, and there is a degree of truth to that. I mean, Kirby's Squeak Squad, the whole plot was that somebody stole Kirby's cake, and I guess on his quest to go get it back, all those deaths were just collateral. I mean, all the people he killed on the way had nothing to do with him losing his cake, but their only crime was just standing in the way, and that was enough. Doesn't the Nintendo fandom at large consider Kirby to canonically be like the most powerful Nintendo character ever? Or something silly like that? I mean, I haven't followed that kind of stuff since I was like 12, so I don't know anymore, but that just seemed to be a recurring theme in fan fictions, on game facts, and the like. Oh, dearie. You're probably thinking, this is boring. When does Kirby get the Bobby Hill power-up? I regret to inform you that no such thing is in the game. King of the Hill was owned by 20th Century Fox at the time, so Nintendo wouldn't have been able to do that. That would have been a violation of copyright law, but it's fun to entertain the idea. Just imagine, if Kirby had a power-up where he just has like a little buzz cut and he says, "Okay, Dad." Weren't they talking about bringing King of the Hill back or something? I mean, every show on the face of the earth is getting brought back. Hollywood's just completely out of ideas. We live in an age of creative bankruptcy. There are no new ideas to be had. TV sucks. I want the old days of TV back when things were new and exciting. Flighty wants his country back. 50-inch screen in his cul-de-sac. Who but time of the Union Jack as he cries at the price of a bacon wrap. Wow, that was completely off key. That was embarrassing. I should redo that. But I won't. I'll just try it again in some future episode, like a month from now. Yeah. So yeah, Kirby 64 was a real hit back in the day. Oh, see, we got a power that turns us into a curling iron. That's pretty cool. Speaking... shit. Shit, there's a frog and he's eating me. He broke my dinosaurs CD and he pushed me down the stairs and my shoes fell off. But anyway, enough weird tangents and stealing jokes from other shows. So Kirby was turning into a curling iron, which reminded me of a choose-your-own-adventure book I read back in the day. And remember those? He would say, like, flip to page 15 if you want to do this, or flip to page 68 if you want to do this other thing. And I played one of those where the story was the kid met a magical genie. The genie would grant him any wish, as genies often do, and he wanted to be like the most famous sports star in the world. But the twist was that he wasn't famous in like a real sport. He was the most famous like curling player. It wasn't like baseball or anything that anybody cares about. And this sucks. Curling. Then I think there was like later in the story there was like a special peanut butter and jelly sandwich he had to go and find, and the book actually quizzes you on what the name of the restaurant that sells the sandwich was, because earlier in the book that was mentioned, and they said, do you remember what it was? Flip to this page if you think the restaurant was named this, and flip to this other page if you think it was named that. I think I got it wrong. That was a double fuck up. I lost my existing power up and I ran into the electrical guy, so I couldn't get his either. It's a damn shame. 'Tis a damn tough life, full of toil and strife, we Let's Players undergo. Dearie me. That thing looks pretty cool, huh? Chomp, chomp, chomp. I don't know how to get to that green glob under there. I assume there's a power-up that breaks that block, but I couldn't tell you which one it is. There are so many different combinations, there's no way of telling what is needed in that situation. Very advanced for the N64 era. They could have just half-assed it and given you like 5 power-ups and people would have said, well, you know, it's only an N64 game, technical limitations and all that, But no, they really went that extra mile, and that's why we remember Kirby 64 so fondly to this very day. Oh, dearie. So, what... Did you ever see that one thing where there was an unfinished 3D Kirby game they were going to make towards the end of the GameCube era? That would have been fun, probably. I don't know, the transition to 3D from 2D is always rough on gaming mascots. I mean, just look at Bubsy 3D, so it could have potentially worked out very poorly, but we'll never know, because the game was cancelled. Just like Woody's Roundup in Toy Story 2, it was cancelled due to low demand or ratings or whatever. Go watch Toy Story 2, it's a good movie. Fun for all ages. There's this old country music song my mom listens to occasionally, and I recognize it because it appears in the special features at the end of Toy Story 2. Like, before the movie starts, they have a promotional thing where the deep-voiced Disney announcer man says, after the film, stay tuned for a special performance of such and such, and then they sing the song with the, they're gonna put me in the movie, they're gonna make a big star out of me. You know, I've seen that tape, hundreds of times over the past many years since I was a little boy, but I don't recall actually seeing that part of the movie where they have the special musical performance at the end. I don't know if I just turn it off or what the deal is. Wonder if I've still got the tape. God, I hope my mom didn't sell that tape in a garage sale, my treasured Toy Story 2 tape. That would be especially ironic considering the conflict of Toy Story 2 as a treasured toy gets sold in a garage sale. I'm gonna go try to find that tape later. Maybe I could just look it up on YouTube.